Last time I checked, we were in November, but this movie apparently thinks it's already January. Shut In is directed by Farron Blackburn, written by Christina Hodson, and stars Naomi Watts, Charlie Heaton, Oliver Platt, and Jacob Tremblay. And this movie is about a child psychologist who lives in rural New England, isolated with her only son, who was paralyzed after an accident. And now she has to find a young boy who has disappeared in the woods where she lives before he disappears forever. Because there's a big winter storm coming and she's isolated in this home, away from everyone else. This was one of those movies that the trailer was confusing as heck. The movie is not confusing, guys, but it is terrible. If you guys have watched my reviews for a while now, you know that I always start with the good in movies. I like to start my reviews in a positive note. So let's start with this. The actors, sure, are trying. They are doing the best they can with the material they are given. Some of them don't have a lot to do, but when they do something, it's passable, just like the directing in this movie. The director seems like he was asleep for the first hour and 10 minutes of this movie until the last 20 minutes when he actually does something creative with the camera work. Because for the majority of this movie, I swear to God, if you ever saw this movie on TV, you would think it was a made-for-TV movie. The composition of the shots just is not cinematic at all. It all looks very, very boring. There's nothing creative about how this movie is handled in any way. Not the music, not the directing, not the cinematography, which is sometimes it's actually very terrible. And I don't mean in a technical sense. Sometimes a character has one kind of lighting in his face, and then another character sitting right next to that character has another completely entire different composition of lighting. And that just frustrates me. Jacob Tremblay doesn't have much to do. He's not in the majority of this movie. When he is, he's believable. He's fine. He doesn't even speak in this movie because he's deaf. That is not a spoiler, don't worry. This whole movie, I swear to God, this whole movie is a series of false jump scares after false jump scares. She's looking with a flashlight at some wood. Oh my God, something's going to happen. It's a raccoon. It's nothing. She's cooking something on the stove, and then, boom, something fell. It's just a carton of milk or something. She's on the basement looking for something. When she goes up the stairs, she opens the door and, oh, the guy that she likes just came into the house in a very non-stalkery way because he was actually a very nice guy. But he just compliments her like, hey, hello, I'm here. This script, if I can even call it that, is so awful. There are some things that these characters do that are so freaking stupid. I honest to God cannot believe how someone did not look at the script and went, no, just, no. There are so many things in this movie that are just wrong to write and even to put on screen. This movie almost made me laugh if I wasn't feeling so depressed watching these good actors portraying such terrible characters and stupid situations on screen. I mean, Oliver Platt is exposition man. That's his superhero name. That's his superhero power. Exposition. He's the guy who Naomi Watts talks to on the phone and on Skype. He's just on the computer all the time until he actually comes on screen as a person, and he just tells her, oh, you're being silly, ghosts don't exist, you know that. And she's like, no, I feel something happening inside my house, something is very weird. And he's like, no, come on, it's actually this because the symptoms make sense. Look, you're watching this movie and you don't think for a second that it can be ghosts. There's just nothing there that is supernatural about this movie. Not in the tone, not in the setting, not in the plot, not anything. You don't believe for a second that it will be ghosts. But the thing is, when he actually says the symptoms correspond to actually this thing that you could have, well, there are no symptoms for ghosts, silly. So if there were ghosts, that line wouldn't make any freaking sense. I know this is nitpicky. You guys should not care about this movie. I'm going to spoil what happens in this movie. If you want to skip the spoilers, you shouldn't because you shouldn't care about this movie, but skip to this minute mark right here and you will be free of spoilers. Now let's move on. The twist is that her paralyzed son was not paralyzed whatsoever. And he has this creepy thing about Naomi Watts because she was his stepmother. He always felt closer to her than his own father. He wanted to kill his own father, and now he kidnapped Jacob Tremblay and he put him inside the house's walls because he wanted to be the only guy in Naomi Watts' life. And then he kills Oliver Platt because he told her to put him away in a home because he was paralyzed, supposedly. So if he wasn't paralyzed, he should have just gotten up from his chair and walk around and say, "Hey, mom, or love, or however the fuck you want to call her, I am not paralyzed. Good. Great, let's move on, let's be happy." And he has this psycho thing about him that just doesn't make sense. There's no build, there's no character to him. He's just a guy who has been expelled from school for whatever reason that is never explained, puts himself into an accident, accidentally, that's the key word, with his father, and then he's paralyzed for most of the movie until it is revealed, "Oh, I'm not paralyzed, I want to be with you forever," and now I arrested Jacob Tremblay inside the house's walls. You hear these sounds like these little things right here. Oh. I don't know if you can hear that, but you hear this kind of sound throughout the movie. And it doesn't make sense that Jacob Tremblay, as little and skinny as he is, he wouldn't just stomp the walls and tell Naomi Watts he was there. And if he was there, which there is a part that he is actually there next to her, he wouldn't tell her somehow. It doesn't make sense that he wouldn't write something on a piece of paper or something else and he wouldn't tell her, because there's one point in the movie where he's actually right there next to her. This is an awful movie. The actors are trying, and that's their level of professionalism, because, good God, except for Naomi Watts, these kids are not doing anything at the moment. I understand them wanting to get a paycheck. Aside from that, this movie is on the list by the end of the year. I can assure you of that, because Shut In is abso-freaking-lutely worse than expired milk. What did you think of Shut In, my beautiful geekies? Are you a fan of false jump scares throughout a whole run of a movie? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to send in your questions for the hashtag FantasticMoana Q&A. You have until midnight tomorrow to send in your questions, how many questions you want, about anything you want, and you might win something on that giveaway. Also, like this video and give it a share. That's a big way for you guys to help me out. And click subscribe if you haven't, to join the beautiful geeky community where we can be geeky united. Thank you so much for watching, my beautiful geekies. You guys are the freaking best. I know you guys love these rants, so at least that's a good thing about bad movies. Stay beautiful, stay geeky, share!